Do we have a call? Michael Woodhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very happy to take a call on the Human-Assisted Reproductive Technology Storage Amendment Bill. I'm a little disappointed to have to withdraw the chocolate fish offer, I think, just at this stage. It's being held in suspension, and I'm sure the member, Ms Dyson, who said she was going to take another call, is open to redemption, and I'll tell her why the chocolate fish was withdrawn. But if it's replaced, the gold star, I think, would be more appropriately attached to an egg, a chocolate egg, given that this is the bill that we are considering in committee. And the reason the chocolate fish, I think, got withdrawn, Mr. Chairman, was because in her efforts to criticise the Minister for what she said on the face of it was a complete rewrite of the bill after it came to committee, was to cast that criticism on the officials who were supporting the committee through the consideration of the bill, and I think that's grossly unfair. So I want to start by commending the officials who I think did an outstanding job in articulating and answering the questions that the committee and the submitters had about what the bill meant and what was intended from a policy perspective. Yes, it does look on the face of it like it's a pretty substantial rewrite, but it's a technical deletion of one clause and replacement of another clause, which in fact in substance doesn't have a lot of changes to it. So I want to commend the officials. I think they did a really, really good job. There was bipartisan support across the committee for this, and in short answer I add to the Minister's answer, have we got the bill right in terms of the policy intent? Yes. I'm not a minister, call that my pitch for ministerial office, but I'm quite confident that we've got that right also. However, there were some quite tricky questions that were being asked of the submitters, particularly ECART and ACART, that I think were outside the scope of the bill, and that was largely where the debate centred. And I think what we've done is we've solved the initial policy problem, and that is to give clarity to when the clock starts and when it should stop. And I want to just touch on probably the more material change that the committee recommended, and that is in respect of whether or not the 10-year time frame should be a hard stop, and therefore someone would be in breach of the Act on the day one after 10 years. And we had a discussion really more about the science behind that, and we certainly had the advantage of not only the Officials' Council but the Chairman's, who has a great deal of experience in this area from his professional background. And I was particularly interested in some of the recent legal changes in the United Kingdom, where changes to their equivalent legislation has seen an extension to the regulations that will allow in certain circumstances for storage of embryos, gametes and eggs for up to 55 years. Now that caused quite some consternation in the House of Lords, where Lord Howe criticised the revised regulations that allowed them to be stored for up to 55 years, not because of any particular problem with the science, but because of the very dodgy ethical dilemmas that this produced. Their act, incidentally, was called the Human Fertilisation and Embryology (statutory storage period for embryos and gametes) regulations. So theirs was twice as long as ours. They also had the benefit of somebody with a great deal of experience on that, in course, in Lord Robert Winston, who is a lifetime peer and also one of the world's leading fertility scientists, who stressed that longer freezing times are not likely to produce a health risk. So while we are able to enable there to be extensions, and also for the 10-year limit not to be a hard close, there's plenty of reasons why someone might not be able to why it might not be appropriate to dispose of the embryos and gametes after that period. I think that was a very sensible change. So I commend that. I look forward to hearing from the member to see if she can earn her chocolate egg with the gold star back, and commend the bill.